Badabam. Okay,
Is
now
it
we want
working?
to know if we have sound. I have no idea if it's working.
Is it working? Do we have sound? Technical
I hope it's
difficulties?
working. I think you're very loud, and
I'm always very loud.
I think I'm loud
Put
enough.
my mic over here.
No, I
It works.
I'm doing
Nice.
it. I kind of had the
breathe
same
in,
breathe
breathe
in.
out.
The same problems as Roger had with the last thing, although I came out a bit more on top due to the fact that I actually saved this scene, but I lost everything else. And then there were sound issues, and then I forgot that I had to change the link to OBS to Ninja for Roger's cam, and
I just admit it. You just wanted Jin on the show again instead of me.
Yeah, I wanted Jin on the show, but I couldn't get him.
I can relate.
Or I had to
feel
choose
the same
you.
way.
I did my best to not get you on the show, but I failed.
Oh yeah, you held out for a long time.
And that's why we're back.
Yeah. Hello.
Take a sip of something. 1 sec. Dear. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Talking Void, where we I have no idea what we're going to do on the show. Oh yeah, we're going to be serious. That's the thing. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because, and I'm quite serious about this, that we're going to be serious. We'll probably have a lot of fun anyway. But the topic for tonight is, what are your expectations for the announced 5.5 editions in Dungeons & Dragons core rule books, the new rules that they will be adding, the updates, the everything, and when I talk about expectations, my idea is that I'm being very enthusiastic about stuff. Is that the same for you, Roger?
Well, I was thinking more along the lines of hopes and dreams.
Yeah, hopes and dreams. That's what I had in mind as well. But apparently, for a lot of people, I think about 80% of everybody who said something, it's more about nightmares and
nightmares and wonders.
Nightmares and wonders.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. A good reference. Yeah. so I had to adjust my my thinking about that, and then I thought, well, I could just skip everybody who gave a negative answer. But then I thought, well, this is Talking Void, and I'm asking people from the community. Where's the fun in that? At least I'm asking people from the community to give them their answers to my questions, and well, they have a certain amount of what is it called, trepidatious? Yeah. So yeah, so I thought, well, let's keep them in, but also let's think about how we can cope with these kinds of answers, and maybe just keep the answers in the show that allude to these kind of negative thoughts instead of just putting the most negative ones on screen. And then the other thing is that I was thinking, well, I might have some problems. Man, I can never say problems again. I might have
by Michel, 2021.
Problems, trepidations about the new core books as well, or the new rules and stuff. And I want to be able to talk about them as well in a kind of critical manner, and maybe that might sound negative to some, but I don't think I am negative about them, but I have some.
You know what the beauty is of D&D? Mm-hmm. Is that you can just make up your own rules as you go along. If you don't agree with any rule, then just house rule it.
Yeah, that as well. I think you're taking the positive approach right there.
I'm a very positive guy.
Well, let's see what you think of some answers that we'll be getting during the show, where there might be an inclination of what people might be thinking about the new rules, and at the same time there will be some answers that are positive, but I think are positive for the wrong reasons.
Okay, that sounds interesting. It's,
well, I think I've talked about this in previous Talking Void episodes, where I don't agree with every change they're already putting into the books. Because, for example, we had the 5th edition episode where I had my guests from America over, and 5th edition books episode, and he said, and most of the people in that episode said that Tasha was their favorite book, and I kind of agree up to a certain point. But I think they also did some changes to some certain mechanisms that I thought were pretty
bad.
Yeah, well, not well thought out.
Lackluster.
Lackluster, yeah, or it's a bit of the 4th edition trap, maybe.
Okay.
Like you always know what you're going to get when you reach level 5, 9, 13, and 17, for example, instead of being able to adjust and tweak some things with your ability scores and etc. So there's some of that in it as well. And then I thought, well, if we want to have a cool show, then instead of starting with a joke, because I don't want to start with a joke, we'll end this show with the greatest, coolest post, just to have a laugh at the end.
Okay.
It's not all bad. We'll get into the mood during the show. Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't want to talk about the incident then? No, yeah, see, you don't want to talk about it. Let's continue on.
What incident?
Yeah, see, yeah, it's, thought as much.
Wait, did I have an incident?
I don't know. Do you want to talk about it?
The OBS thing. Hey, hello, Hops and Dragons.
No, just continue on. It's fine. You don't have to talk about it.
I'm curious what
and hello, Hops and Dragons.
I had. Okay.
You see, this is what you do to your guests, and I'm doing it to you right now.
Oh,
yeah.
We're just making stuff up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I understand now. But you're prepared. I'm not prepared.
I'm never prepared. All these D&D books you talk about, I think I've read none of them.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I skimmed over them.
Yeah,
but I got the gist.
Only been a DM for 25 years, and I don't think I've ever read a book front to back.
I think I did it with the 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons Player's Handbook and Dungeon Master Guide. And I did it with the Red Box books, and I think I actually did it with the 2nd edition, or not the 3rd edition, Dungeon Master Guide and Player's Handbook.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh no, that's Michel. Okay.
It's Michel saying hello. It's okay.
Let's go to the intro.
Yeah.
And we're back. And what I forgot, and I have to mention, is we've got socials.
That you do.
And I believe that you will be having you'll be on a show, or be doing a show, or will be doing a show, and you'll be the dungeon master of that next Monday again.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So what is it called? Can you entertain us?
Well, it's called the Precipice of Dreams.
No, really, I am in that one.
Yeah. I know. I've seen you there. And it's about these 4 guys, or 3 guys and a girl, who talk so very much and never get anything done.
Oh, it's like Dungeons and Dragons adventure then.
Yeah, a bit like it. Yeah.
Cool. I love Dungeons and Dragons. I'm glad I'm in it then.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's nice. I think we're gonna start off with some combat, right? Had a big tide turner last time.
Yeah. We'll be messing them up. I have been thinking about that, and I'm a cruel dungeon master.
I know.
I hope you're less cruel next session, but we'll see.
We'll see.
I mean, you know what I mean right now, right?
Yeah. Beware the smiling DM. Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, you.
But I'm not gonna be a Frans about it. So
no, but you already prevented a disaster scenario because he had Solwing grappled and was about to teleport away, and I thought, oh, that would be cool, and then you prevented it. So
yeah, that was pretty cool. I thought that was actually kind of okay. So we're
we don't have to talk about the
Precipice of Dreams, but I really thought that was great how we handled the chain. For those who haven't seen the episode, it will or is on YouTube.
No, it's not. It will be on YouTube this Thursday, but you can watch now as a vault on Twitch.
Yeah. So wherever you want to watch it, just watch it and see what happens in the combat. It's great, and in the rest of the episode as well, of course. Anyway, for tonight, the question is: what are your expectations about D&D 5.5 and why? So let's I have to show you that on stream, and I think we will not be freezing anymore, right? No, we'll just be continuing.
I can.
No, I don't think we're freezing.
Oh, I can't. Damn it.
It is awkward. Okay.
Yeah.
A great expectations for the new edition of Dungeons and Dragons is what I called it in shorthand, because otherwise it wouldn't fit on the top of my other pages. So it was such a long question, and the question for next episode is long again. So I am wondering if that will be the right way to actually put it on the socials to get the answers from, because you'll probably help me with that one, right? Thank you. So what we do in this show, we discuss a topic. This is the topic, and then we get the answers from our socials. Then we put them together in some kind of order, at least I do, and then we talk about all the answers that are being given. And I hope you rate the answers.
Should we rate them?
Should I rate the answers?
3D4 out of 10 or something.
3D4 out of 10. What's that on average? It's like 7.5.
Yeah, well, that's pretty good then.
That's pretty good. Yeah, and the lowest number is actually not a 1 anymore, so that's okay as well.
Yeah. But 3 is still pretty bad. 3 out of 10. Don't want that.
Yeah.
But a 12 out of 10.
You can have a 12 out of 10.
Yeah.
Exactly. So let's go to the first answer. Let's get it over with. Here we go. Exciting.
Drum roll.
Traveler says, an immense amount of crying about the changes. I expect there to be countless posts about how they ruined the game. I expect the posts to start coming out before anyone has had the chance to read about what the changes actually are. In short, I expect it to be like every other release. Dyson Logo says, yep, already getting this regarding the spellcasting monsters. Insert eye roll emoji.
Get the feeling that this first person has been on the internet before.
Yeah. Yeah, but actually, for every other, because I recognize this kind of behavior, but for every other question I ask, there's always a fun answer, you know.
It is,
and as I said, 80% was salty this time, and even from the top 20% that wasn't salty, half was salty.
Okay. Yeah, that's fun to work with then. But yeah, I mean, what he's describing is going to happen with every game. It happens or everything when people don't like changes, and there's no way to make everyone happy all of the time. So this is bound to happen. So he might seem like a prophet, but it's kind of a given.
I think
in a
he's
way.
actually a traveler instead of a prophet.
True.
So he might still have knowledge of the future because he got sent back in time. But
Yeah, but this is more of a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way. I mean,
Human
look
nature.
at other games. If they make changes, people are always going to rage. If they agree with all of the changes, then it's the changes they didn't make that they are mad about. So yeah,
that's true.
This guy is completely right. This is what's going to happen.
Yeah. So what I actually then think was a great answer after this one, or a two-post conversation like this one is the next one. You're immediately going to the second slide. Imagine that.
Wait. That second answer was a reply to the first answer as well?
Yeah.
Or, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so they I saw. Okay, so there some stuff has been released, and we had a cleric, we had a warlock, we had a bard, and they could be compared to the previous version of that same stat block. And I actually think they will start in the Monsters of the Multiverse, Mordecai's Monsters Tome of...
Don't look at me. I don't know this stuff.
Mordecai's...
I've not done my homework.
Mordecai's Monsters of the Multiverse, I think it is called. Where they redid...
Because Monsters Manual wasn't enough M's. That's...
Indeed, yeah.
Okay.
But it's quite logical that they took that name because the last one was with the same kind of name was Mordecai.
Talking to your mic.
The last one was Mordecai's Tome of Foes. So this is a reiteration because they. I still haven't got the book. I want to have the book, but they redid a lot of races in there, give them new racial features, and they built on the Tasha theme a bit in that, which we'll be discussing later in the show. And they also redid a lot of monsters in that one already. So it's kind of a preview to what they'll be doing to the anniversary edition, which is what it's actually called, this new core book set they want to release, where some classes have updates, but there will be a lot of races in there as well, and they will have done some other stuff that will include this 5.5 ID of Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. So they will be releasing or have released some of these stats in that book, but they had a preview before that when they announced that they would be doing this. And I actually didn't read the monster entries that much because I kind of didn't want to spoil it too much for me, which might be strange for a talk show host in this case. But I took one example of the cleric, and we'll be discussing that in this episode as well. So Dice and Logos, who has had an answer previously on this show, by the way, and wants to include the Logos part of his name because search him on the internet, is referring to those stats here.
Okay. Yeah.
So then the next one is Fiona says, do people realize it's not a system update and you can play all of the previous versions editions how you like? And Scott says, no, they don't. I keep telling people this too. They take it as a brush off, but I'm being completely serious.
This is very true.
Yeah. These are the desperate voices of hope, I call them.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if it's that hopeful because, I mean, they also think that it's gonna suck, and so they look to the past with rose-tinted glasses. And back then, everything was better.
No, these don't.
Yeah, okay. They comment on the people that are negative.
Yeah. And so, but I think they are hopeful by nature, but depressed because of all the other answers.
Yeah. Again, welcome to the internet.
Welcome to the internet. Yeah, but I thought let's put this one behind.
But this is very true, and even if 5.5 is the best edition ever, then you can still draw inspiration from other editions.
True. For example, from 4th edition.
Yeah, there's some pretty good stuff in there, even though it's generally considered one of the worst editions ever. By some.
Generally, yeah. Let's talk about them again. Blooded, which is something we have to consider doing in our own system as well. When you lose, when you are wounded, you
HP,
gain.
Right?
Yeah, that's a bit difficult if you have free health.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll think of something.
We'll think of something. Or maybe it's when you drop to 1 health or something. And then Blooded, a ritual casting, which is the best thing ever. And what was the other one? Can't come up with the other one. Minions.
Yeah, Minions. I tried out Minions in 5th edition, and that was very fun. Players didn't even notice.
Yeah, so there are kind of a couple of cool things in there. And I must say that I did like playing my first level cleric that I built once and used like in 1 combat. But
I've never played 4th. I went from 2 to 3.5 to 5.
Yeah. The 2nd edition is very much known for its happy-go-lucky ideas of the rules.
Yeah, but they had a 2.5 as well there, right? I mean,
the not the 3rd is what we call it.
Yeah, the not the 3rd, which was 2.5 in a way.
Yeah, but it actually said this is not the 3rd edition in the in the introduction, so that's why we called it that, which is great. Yeah. And 3 and 3.5.
3rd edition at the same. But 4th didn't, right? They went straight from 4 to 5. Yeah.
Now, there's something to be said because of 4th edition when you consider that, because they had every rule pinned down very neatly, so they didn't need to. There were no mistakes in 4th edition. Well, no apparent mistakes, that's to say. Because everything was so balanced. Yeah. Well, that's something to be said for some of the things, you know. I actually saw a post in this one where they said, I want to have the 4th edition Barbarian back because that had a lot of more options. And then one said, well, hold 4th edition failed because it had a lot of options. So, yeah.
I think it had a lot of options, but all the options were the same.
Yeah, right? Not exactly per class, but per between classes.
Between the classes, yeah.
So Barbarian could use Fury Wrath thingy at level 20, which did area damage all around him and was exactly as strong as a Fireball of that level, for example. I don't exactly know what kind of thing there, what the comparison actually was, but that's kind of the gist. Yeah. And then you also had the gear value that was balanced to the max, so to say. So you could.
Yeah, but it was also that they had that in 3rd as well. That they expected a certain level of power for magic items at a certain level.
Yeah, but 3rd went wild.
Yeah. Okay, that's true. But still, it had these guidelines, let's say, that a level 3 character should get its first +1 weapon, then etc.
Yeah, that was in there actually. Yeah, I think that in 4th edition, every weapon had a kind of daily power, and then the daily power was balanced on the plus bonus of the weapon, and went from +1 to +6. So it got more power, but you had to find a new weapon, of course, with the same thing instead of the weapon upgrading with you. But then you would have it at +1 at 5th level, +2 at 10th level, +3 at 15th level, +4 at 20th level, up to 30th level. And that's how they did it with everything. Yeah.
Yeah, to me it always sounded a bit like a computer game. Like an RPG.
Yeah, I think if you had used those rules for example, what was that? The Gladiator? Was that the Gladius?
Gladius, with the team-based,
which we used to play on the Reeweg. I think it would have worked pretty well for that one. Because then you would actually have swapped out all those skills and then use the daily, use the short
that
rest.
was based on D20 though, right?
It was very similar, but I think everything worked kind of the same. But I think the system beneath it was just a bit different than. But moving, opportunity, attacks, and everything like that worked as if it was D20. I think. Yeah. So, but I can kind of understand where these two people are coming from when I read these comments, and when I decided that I would put these answers into the show, I said then I have to be optimistic about this edition as well, which I am. I actually am, but let's build up to that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to slide 3. And this is... Oh, Roger, will be so cool. A big answer. There you go.
Oh, there it is. Oh,
there it is.
Wow. Wow. This is the highlight of the show. Yeah.
This is the highlight of the show. We're already starting. Yeah. So James says, I'm treating it the same way I treated Eric Theus' first dungeon back in 1974. I will treat every page in every new book like an unopened door to a new room. I will examine the contents carefully and, as always, expect to be surprised, both by how I and other players react to the yet undiscovered new monsters, treasures, and traps. What I don't expect to change is the dynamic between DM and PC player roles. That's right, we are, and always were, players here trying to have fun around a magical table that can span a world and bring total strangers together to work as a team. Hasbro, I rolled a 10 on my insight check to see what lies ahead, other than more investment in my favorite hobby. Therefore, my greatest expectation is to be able to more carefully and quickly clarify areas of the rules that have been obscure or poorly written so far, and more world-building tools.
Yeah, this is an awesome answer.
Yeah, this is an awesome answer. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Very poetic, very open-minded, very... contra what we expect from old D&D players in the mainstream when they get bashed for being stereotypical. Did that make sense?
No, not really. I thought it did, but then you said something and it didn't.
No, it's like, when you when somebody is salty, they say, "Okay, I'm using too much Twitter lately." I think that's the thing. Where everybody is salty, and then when something is not someone is not says something back in the day at second edition, and they immediately say neckbeard, like that kind of stuff. And but this is far from that, and a really excellent statement of how you should approach new products. I think being open-minded. And with great expectations.
I agree with almost everything he said, because I'm not gonna read a book from front to cover because I can't seem to manage that with D&D books. I will.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No.
Mireneia says, speaking from personal experience, having your answer on the big answer screen is such a milestone.
Yeah. So James won this episode.
Man, I have a cough.
Yeah, take a sip. No, but it's awesome what he says, and it is true. It will never change the dynamic between players and the DM at the table. It's whatever the rules are, we just come together, have fun with each other, and find an excuse to get out of the house, right?
Indeed, or stay inside and sit behind a PC, which
of course, it's
accepted right now.
But then you shoo everyone else away from the room, right? Like I've done now.
Of course,
everyone's upstairs. So
everyone is upstairs. Yeah, I'm sitting here in my corner of the living room, and it's all empty. Only the cat is here, so he's watching. Anyway, I like the answer as well, because I think so. After those first things where we lost faith in humanity, then saw the desperate hopelessness that comes with hope. This one gives some new hope, which is the title of a cool movie that came out at some time, I think late 70s. Here we are back on track. With Talking Void.
I feel the hope rising. This is good. This is good.
Hope is rising.
A good path right now.
I'm going to crush it later on, but don't mind for
really,
now.
Really? Okay, spoilers.
Oh, sorry.
I like to be surprised, Jasper. You know that.
Yeah. So, it made me also think about again the red box when I first started reading that one. When I actually took note of every word that was in the player's handbook, or the Speler's Handboek, as it was called in the Netherlands. That's still very cool. That one drew me in immediately because of the Dungeon Master player example of play that was in there at the start. And oh man, that was so cool. That is why I want to start our own game with some kind of reflection of that experience for those who would ever pick up our product that we will be releasing soonish in the very far future. Yeah, right. So,
definitely.
Yeah. So and then I started reading every sentence, and I think you never played that one, right? You started.
I never played first. I started with second edition.
I remember,
but even then, I treated D&D books like a dictionary. Like I look something up when I don't know it, and I don't start at the beginning and read or read through it all. I just look at what I need, and then I look in the book where I can find it, and it's why I'm very happy with all the digital stuff, because you can just press Control F and then search for a keyword.
Yeah, indeed. Well, actually, what I think was pretty cool about those books is that there was a list of like 20 items that you could buy, like a 10-foot pole and a rope, or rations. That kind of stuff. And I think there were kind of 20 or 25 items on that, and there was a very small weapon list, or maybe it was even included in that list. And I remember that when we started playing that, everybody would always go to that page of the player's handbook and actually, really consider what they were going to buy. Yeah. Even when we had like thousands of gold pieces, we were still sitting like, I could really use a rope. Should I buy a rope?
we did it. That's sort of shopping for us, right? I mean, we didn't have any actual money to spend because we were young, and
we ate a lot of French fries. A bit.
Later on, we spent it all on snacks. That's true.
Yeah. But I agree.
Learning to shop in D&D, that was there was this list, and you could get stuff from it, which was
back in the day, says Mireneas.
Yeah, he was there. I saw him.
Imagine when second edition fell into our hands, and you had like this whole page with double columns with all kinds.
The tables.
I actually think it has 3 columns, right? A lot of items in there. I don't have it here. Otherwise, I could have looked. But no, I don't have it here. It's upstairs. I want to take a look at it soonish again. And in that edition, we just started browsing, and we could buy a dog and a horse and that kind of stuff. Do you actually remember that proficiencies and stuff were optional rules in second edition?
Yeah, for me, they were never really optional. We just used them.
Yeah. But I think the whole chapter is actually optional.
Really? Was there a whole chapter on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think it actually was
came from
the
skills and feats.
Yeah, I think it actually was the chapter where they also said that level something fighter, level 13 fighter, would have 5 attacks in 2 rounds.
But that was no. It went in the normal proficiency rules. It went to 3-2, so every other round you had 2 attacks, and with I think it was Skills and Powers or one of the sub books from Skills and Powers that gave you the further means to further your specialization into mastery. Like you had high mastery and grand mastery or something, and eventually you could get 3 in 1 was the ultimate, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well. But I think you actually had weapon proficiencies in 2nd edition that you could spend on those things, because those are in Baldur's Gate as well. Remember?
Yeah, but they were from supplemental rules. They weren't in the original Player's Handbook. Player's Handbook went to
to 3-2.
Specialization. Yeah.
Yeah, but those were not in the fighter description. Those were in a different chapter.
And that were only available to fighter.
Yeah, they were only available to fighter. So if you didn't read those rules in that chapter, that was for a large part optional. You could have actually skipped that rule for a fighter to be able to get that many attacks. And then you had all these really strange skills where you, or proficiencies, I think. Were they called proficiencies? Yeah, they were
non-weapon proficiencies.
Non-weapon proficiencies, where you had to lower your value, but the value started with a value that was dependent on your ability score associated with that, with a minus or a plus value. And the minus value was good, I think, and the plus value was bad. Remember that?
Is that the high level?
No, that's simple non-weapon proficiencies.
Man, I don't actually remember any of that.
Yeah, I think it worked that well. No, because
I remember you had running as a non-weapon proficiency.
Yeah,
and you could keep up with all the horses.
Yeah, and what you mean is like the bravery and stuff, which were the high level variants, which also had whole new.
It had rules for role playing. That if a character role played something badly, then you would have to give him -10 penalty, and if he did it very well, you could give him +10, and the degrees in between.
Yeah, indeed. So that was cool as well.
No, that wasn't cool.
But
people penalties based on their role play is not cool.
I think we now consider that not cool.
Yeah,
I think it was cool at that point, because I think I really lived for that kind of thing at that point. And there might have been players, I don't know if Mireneus can confirm or deny this, who wouldn't have liked doing that, but because you really had to say, and now I'm going to slice the red dragon from the top of his head to the back of his tail with a motion that while I'm crying because I lost my mother when I was 3 or something. And then you would get a cool bonus. Yeah.
Well, there's nothing wrong with a bonus. Something wrong with a penalty.
Yeah. Well, Yeah.
Yeah.
It's to apply a penalty for bad role or for not role playing, because it's not even for bad role play, but simply for not role playing what you're doing. Yeah, that's bad. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Okay, now we are going to get into a list, I think, which will be still be on the big answer screen. Mm-hmm. Here we go. Christopher says, based on what I've seen from the last few books, 1. So he is actually talking about expectations. 1. The Artificer will become a standard player's handbook class. 2. All races will get to choose either +2 for one stat and +1 for another, or +1 for 3 different stats, which will suck for mountain dwarves and elves. 3. Many people will complain about how the edition has changed. 4. A lot of errata will be updated as per usual, and some of the more shaky rules will be tightened. 5. I'll get the updated books and adapt. And how will it change for me? 1. I'll get the updated books and adapt. 2. Nothing. 3. Profits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually some concrete stuff there.
Yeah.
I think
There we go.
I think I agree with them on number one. Artificer has been such a hyped class; it would be weird if they leave it out now suddenly.
Not even hyped. I think it really gets its own sense of its own place in the multiverse, so to say.
Yeah. Okay, that's more what I mean.
Yeah.
2 is for me is why wasn't it in the first place? Because I have always disliked that races have certain bonuses to stats, even though I'm guilty of it myself. But I think if you want to play a particular race, you should play it because you like it, not because it's the best fit for your class.
So I actually have an opinion about this as well.
Oh my god!
Do you want to hear it or not?
I'll get back to you.
Okay, go on.
Now I'm curious. I want to know.
So I have been thinking about this, and although because we discussed this as well, of course, for example, for Voidwalkers, which I'm dropping a lot, I'm doing a lot of name dropping right now, and I understand. Voidwalkers is the system we're building.
No, you're plugging your own product.
Yeah, on my stream.
Wow, how dare you?
Yeah, I don't understand what I'm doing. Anyway, for that system, we are not considering bonuses as something that you gain from your species, as it's called, because we decided on that kind of, and I think I actually agree.
I call them species, yes.
Yeah, species, but I mean no bonus to attributes.
Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah.
And I think that I think for 5th edition, I actually prefer the ability scores that were included in the player's handbook and stuff. And why?
Yeah.
It's because of the
lack of other flavor.
No, it's because I prefer them over this system, and that is because this system is so arbitrary. Because now we can just leave all the racial feats and simply make it a 32-point buy.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. That is weird because just take it out of the races entirely.
Yeah. So either make them unique to every race and make it a consideration for how you want the races to be in your game system, or forget this legacy rule, which it's called the legacy rule.
Legacy
rule, and simply skip them and make your build 32-point buy or 33 or whatever.
There is a middle way, I guess, where you can like take elves, for instance, right? Where they get dexterity and the other one is intelligence now.
Intelligence for high elves and wisdom for good elves. Yeah.
Well, you could also say, well, you get a +2 and you can choose if it's dexterity or intelligence because they're both nimble or magical adept. And if you want to go with the magical way, then take the intelligence stat. And if you want to go with the nimble, fighty way, then you go for dexterity.
Yeah,
but that's middle ground.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. And I like that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can stay on the show now. Nice.
You can stay on the show, but I think if you're, it's the same thing that in a way, Dungeons and Dragons, maybe in 6th edition, but not in 5th edition, could drop the whole idea of having statistics that run from 1 to 20. Because you could simply use the modifier if you want.
But I think they've talked about that. I'm not sure but it has been brought up plenty of times before.
Yeah, but it's identity.
It's identity, and there's something to say for that. I mean, of course, back in the day when you had in 2nd edition, when you had a strength of 18, you had to roll D100 and see in which bracket of strength 18 you fell and stuff like that. It was
different for a fighter.
Yeah. And but ever since 3rd, when they introduced the ability modifier, which is a much cleaner system than they ever had before, yeah, there's no reason to keep the other stats anymore.
Yeah. And fourth edition was a great
yeah, point is, it's part of D&D.
Yeah,
those stats, and you can't roll an ability modifier on 3d6s or 4d6s keep highest or whatever.
Yeah, indeed, and so it's cool, and I think they should keep that in. But that's another case of how you can dumb down, or not dumb down, but forget about an important idea of what is behind your system to make things more and make things more neutral. And I kind of understand why they are doing it right now, because there's a whole other argument behind these legacy ability modifiers than there would have been like 20 years ago, because of how we now view the difference between sexes, sexual preferences, gender issues, and all that kind of stuff. This has become a thing, and that's, I think somebody also said, I think they will drop alignment, or at least an alignment options per race. Like suggesting that drow should be evil.
They already did that with classes, though. Back in the day, there were a lot more restrictions on which class you could play based on your alignment.
Yeah, and I actually think that alignments aren't that much of a thing anymore in fifth as well. But you still have the kind of the idea that the drow live in Mensa Branzan and use the whip to chastise others, and sacrifice and burning down other drows' houses and all that kind of stuff. There are now good drow cities. They are just different kind of people, which I've also talked about. I think I understand it from a certain point of view, but I also think that you lose flavor in a sense. Because now the bad guys have to be demons, because otherwise you can never kill them without any type of regret, and I think that's hard. Mirneos is pretty busy typing in chat. First of all, let's go a bit back. Being a fan of both penalties or bonuses, I have no strong opinion on either.
I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
Yeah, Roger can stay.
I said hello.
What was that again?
That's Futurama. It's the neutral party. It's one of the best characters in Futurama.
Yeah, Roger can stay, so he's glad at least. Yay. And I'm going to toast to Dort for life every time Roger says "back in the day." Okay.
I did say "back in the day" a couple of times, and I just did
back
it again.
In the day.
So cheers.
Cheers. Yeah. Okay, so we got stuck at point 2. Which is great.
Point 3. Huh. We've been over point 3.
We
started with point 3.
Yeah.
4 is the whole reason they're doing this, right? Yeah. I mean, there's been so much errata and Unearthed Arcana, and they've been bundling it into books. And well, if you look at the different books, and again, I haven't read them, but I know that they're that even the structure in the books and the way they're using their jargon has been changing. Yeah. So it's good to reset that and go back and just do it one single way. I hope they're doing that. But
and actually, I think they did a great job in getting it almost right on the first try. If you compare it to third edition Dungeons and Dragons, it was kind of a mess when you look back at it.
3.0, you mean?
Yeah, 3.0 and 3.0 is kind of a mess, and then 3.5 came along, and you had the feeling, now it's starting to get balanced.
Yeah, now it's clicking. Yeah.
Balanced.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
And then we go broad.
It goes so broad. Yeah. But they did a lot of things right. In
Yeah,
the
yeah.
5th edition. Yeah. So what's the next one? Do you want to discuss that?
5. Yes. Excellent South Park reference.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
It has been used 2 times.
Hmm?
I'll get the updated books and adapt is a South Park reference.
No.
Or
The
1, 2, 3.
2 blank and then 3 profit. It's
Okay.
like step before profit is. Yeah.
So I was wondering if this is cynical, or if it's. But I guess then it is cynical.
No, well, in a way, he'll get. That's it. He'll get the books. He'll adapt, and he'll just enjoy playing, which is profit.
Yeah. So then it's not cynical.
Yeah. No, this is positive. I think this is meant in a positive way.
I certainly hope so, because I can totally agree. I will totally buy all the books.
And I won't read them.
But will you buy the books?
Yeah, maybe if I have money.
Yeah. Also, there was that as well, right? In the comments, like the poor man argument, which is very relevant, of course. But I don't have the money to buy all new books. But I'm calling it the poor man argument just to make you understand. Is because actually the person in the post said, because I'm poor, not because I think the poor man is a standard kind of argument that you can use in these kinds of things.
Well, there's I'm not sure if there's any of that in the slides, but the money grubbing argument, like Wizards is just doing this to make more money.
Yeah,
and of course they are. It's
they
a big
also
company.
want to make more money.
Yeah, they will.
It's logical, but I think
companies want to make money. It's not weird.
Yeah. But they actually do it in a very nice way, because for everybody you can
as
use
long
all
as
the
they
rules.
treat us, the customers, with respect and communicate with us, listen to our feedback, whatever, and try to make a good, fun game for us, then that's okay, right? And they're allowed to make money while doing their jobs. And of course, people we see in the interviews and stuff like that, that's not those are not the big CEOs of Wizards and
Hasbro,
yeah. But these people are gonna make money regardless whether it hurts our game or not. It's that's what they do. That's their job. Make money.
Yeah.
And evil corporations are evil. That's also true.
Yeah.
Most corporations are probably evil. People working for them, however, different story.
But wait, I don't think I agree on the probably evil thing as well.
You don't have to.
Okay, that's nice. So Mireneus says, in my honest opinion, no game system will ever replace quality time spent among friends or getting to know people in a different light.
Yeah, so when we discovered one of our friends was actually a fascist. Because he wanted to only save the most intelligent people in the world when the world was ending.
Oh, in-game.
Yeah, in-game. No, yeah.
Yeah, but because
which has been a running gag for a long time.
Yeah, and he's kind of the least fascist person ever.
He's definitely not.
Yeah, he went there. Yeah, that's still.
So if you're seeing this,
I think I went quiet for a very small time, and then I got really mad.
That was golden. That was so good.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I didn't. Yeah, I'd never expected it to come from him, though.
No, me neither. But it was fun because it was a game.
Well, that's also D&D, right? Exploring ways of life that you can't do in real life.
Yeah, actually,
like playing an evil character. He wasn't even an evil character at that time, but
it was certainly. Well, is it evil? Yeah, it is kind of evil.
He was being pragmatic, I think. Not
so pragmatic. Is
like
really-
his own motives were more of pragmatism than ill intent.
Yeah. But then you forget that you have to do the good thing. Yeah.
It's always a bother.
It's not good. Let's put it that way. Yeah. And I talked about this before as well. I tried to play my first kind of, well, it is chaotic neutral character, but with a tendency to evil. I tried to play that, and then I discovered I don't want to do that ever again.
Yeah. As a DM, I can be as evil as possible.
There's a big
but as
difference.
a player, I just can't do it. Like
No.
even in video games, I just always have to be the good guy.
Indeed. I just can't do it. And but
weird,
the
right?
thing was that as a dungeon master, I never realized this, what the impact could be. You know, when they set me down because of the goblin cavern thing.
Oh yeah.
But it was just fun. But now I experienced it from the other side and thought, oh, okay.
Ouch. Yeah.
This feels bad. Yeah. So, yeah.
Which
that.
isn't necessarily wrong. Making your players feel stuff is part of the art.
Yeah. But I think that this was actually the first time that we actually reversed something.
Oh, you reversed?
Yeah.
Wait, I didn't know. You reversed that?
No, Tim did, but yeah.
I thought you were talking about the Goblin Cave.
No, I didn't reverse that.
Okay.
Well, actually, I kind of did because we went back in time, but that's a different way.
That's canon. That's
yeah, that's canon. Yeah. No, Tim did change this thing because, well, I was kind of put off, but one of the other players was actually saying that he didn't want to play this kind of Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay,
so
that's fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I thought that was a pretty good argument to not do that.
I'm kind of thinking this kind of a conversation between the two of us. Not sure that people in chat know what's going on.
Can you relate to what we were saying, or are we going in depth too much? That could be the case.
Well, maybe.
So
I paraphrase what it was about.
I first killed a guard because I thought he should not get away, and then I discovered that his child was hiding behind a kind of crate there, and I killed the child as well because I thought, well, he could still run back to wherever he needed to go and still could tell us something about what had happened. But I must also be, well, I also mistook the whole setting. Jasper, as the player, didn't get what was happening. So there was that as well. Yeah, it was a bit of a strange situation. Mireneer says, I've always been comfortable with morally grey. Noah horn-rimmed glasses Bennett. Horn-rimmed glasses Bennett. Noah Bennett.
He misspelled. You said it correctly. That's what it says.
Yeah. Noah Bennett. Yeah.
It's from Heroes, right?
Yeah. I actually kind of like this character as well. Protecting your daughter by hunting everything down. Yeah, rimmed. Yeah. Cool character. Okay. So let's go to back in the day.
Back in the day.
Heroes Season 1.
Back in the day. Yeah.
Heroes Season 1, man. You could rewatch that and still think it's pretty cool. Yeah. But just stop at the end of Season 1. Okay, let's go to the next one. We have quite a long way to go. Jim says they've already said it with it will be full compatible. They have done surveys of feats, classes, and races. In the most recent books, we saw the vast majority of the Player's Handbook races redone. PHB races redone. I expect that at the 50th anniversary in 2024, we'll get new core books that will work just fine with the existing core books and errata. The races will be redone like the others. Ability scores removed from PC races, no age or alignment listed under PC races. Small races moved up to 30 inch, and natural weapons increase to 1d6 damage. I didn't understand. 30 feet, sorry.
Yeah.
We'll continue to see short rest recovery features move to proficiency times per long rest. Monster Manual will probably be updated the same way as the new books as well, cutting down on explicit spellcasting that requires a reference and instead limiting casting and some fully described magical actions. Oh, and I expect some kicking new art, except for halflings, which will still be disproportional, but the rest will be really nice. Probably variant covers as well. They've been doing that a lot. They have already made the changes and they work just fine with what's out.
Yeah, but this guy
A lot
has
of text.
Lined up.
Yeah.
Well, again, no ability scores in races. I'm not sure what he means with no age or alignment list. Like the brackets that they suggest.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. At 30 feet for small races. I'm not sure. Yeah. But okay.
Yeah. Then using proficiency.
Yeah, that. When I read something like that, I am worried about homogenization, like the 4th edition problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if
that's what I was referring to at the start of the show.
Yeah. Well, if every ability works the same way, it's are the abilities actually different, or is it just a different skin on the same ability?
Yeah.
Which I guess is fine for races, but for abilities,
Yeah, imagine this, because I think it will do some good in a sense, but I still disagree. But I think that, for example, when you have a dual stat class like the Paladin, if you're instead of charisma bonus, it says proficiency, then it will automatically scale during your leveling.
Yeah,
I think they'll use it for that kind of thing.
Yeah, which is good because ability score scaling isn't that great, because you start with a +3 if you do it correctly, and you'll get +5 as soon as you can.
Yeah,
if you do it correctly. But with proficiency, yeah, it's just leveling, which is fine in a way. But if it is short rest recovery features, yeah, so many times per day that it loses meaning. Like you can do it an additional time. So, wow, okay, that's not cool. That is not an upgrade. Yeah, in some cases it is, of course, but yeah, it feels boring.
Yeah. I've also been thinking about, for example, with a barbarian, there are just actually in the normal setting, there's just one class who does it, I think. But the barbarian gets 24 in strength and 24 in constitution. And if you have a strength DC, that rises because you've invested in strength in a way. You can get above a certain degree. And I actually like it in those kind of cases where you have the option to think about how you will manage your strength. Yeah,
but with something like this, like if you take barbarian again, with the barbarian rage, you can do it this many times a day, and that goes up as you level, and at level 20 it says you can do it as much as you want.
Yeah,
that is cool, but that rule is only useful if you have multiple combats per day. Or if you die a lot during combat, but
yeah, I actually watched the Critical Role episode, or listened to Critical Role episode where the barbarian dropped his rage to rage again to get a different wild magic bonus on this Path of Wild Magic barbarian subclass.
I mean, then it's cool. Then you use it as a resource. To get a particular buff or something. But if it's just and like the capstone ability is you can do it as many times as you want. just defeats the whole purpose. At that point, it becomes a quality of life thing, so you don't have to track it on your character sheet anymore.
Yeah.
There's little to no useful decision making in it, and then at that point you could just say, yeah, well, you recover it with a short rest, or you go back to 4th edition and say this is an encounter power and this is a daily power and blah 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 blah.
Yeah. I've also been thinking, because even if you use proficiency for something where you don't actually increase the ability score, but the possible attack power or the attack roll, I mean, or the spell DC should still increase with that stat, then it becomes so random as well. Or random. There's a disassociation between the two.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like when they use stat scaling, like an ability that scales with a stat, that is just because they want to give that stat meaning to that character. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I actually like that more than using a proficiency bonus.
Yeah, but because the problem with stat scaling is the limited range. And you cap out really soon.
True, but not on your secondary stat. So there's something to say to be able to say about that. And then you actually have the option as a dungeon master to give your character an item that grants a bonus that exceeds the normal limit.
It's exactly what I've been doing in my campaign.
Yeah. And I actually like that one better, because then you feel like you actually gained something. Yeah. So I don't like the proficiency, and there are, because it
could be good for some abilities. I mean, it's just the homogenization that I worry about. If they do it for all abilities, then it will become stale.
Yeah, I think I used proficiency, for example, with my Source Disciple class, where I say you have this many sustaining points, and it's proficiency bonus plus Constitution bonus.
Yeah. And because you start out with 5, and you,
and
one of them will go fast up. Yeah, sorry.
No, because wisdom is the main stat, so you actually start with 4. And there, if you don't invest in Constitution, you still gain some, and you raise your wisdom with your ability score bonuses.
And it's still low enough at that point that you actually feel the difference.
Yeah, because you have to manage it. Yes,
because even with those number of times you can rage a day, at some point it doesn't matter anymore. Like if you can rage 8 times a day, then why bother tracking it? Because you can rage whenever you want. Unless you have a really sadistic DM that wants you to fight 12 battles in a day.
Would be cool. Yeah.
Okay. Next section.
Oh no. Oh, but how many battles did we do in the cavern system? We had the morals outside. We had the one moral in the corridor. Oh, and then we had the big one. So that was 3 battles. Yeah. That's kind of intensive.
It was, but D&D is built on like 4 encounters a day. Yeah, 3 to 4, I think.
If you balance them well, which you did, of course. But
yeah, but I also want to do 1 encounter on a day and still have that encounter be challenging, and the choices you make for a character and the way you spend your resources and stuff like that be meaningful.
Yeah,
and actually matter.
Yeah. So Mirenees says, sorry.
No.
Mirenees is saying, I totally get the desire to simplify the overwhelmingly many aspects. D&D should have the means to let players progress in any way they can think of, in a way, and that failure is always an option and not always bad. Oh, and that failure is always an option and not always bad. Yeah. But yeah, that mindset has been slipping a lot, I think.
Well,
uniformity is starting to be the thing, and positive.
Uniformity
results.
makes for a really clean system where you can really, it's easy to balance, and it makes it easy to learn, but it doesn't make it like there's a low skill floor, but also a low skill ceiling.
Yeah,
and you want a low skill floor and a high skill ceiling.
Yeah, indeed, and that's what I've been also. We'll get to into that as well during this show, I think, with an example. But let's discuss it right now. Is that where they think the people in general think that they are bothered by the fact that Dungeons and Dragons isn't balanced. That martial classes are underpowered compared to wizards.
No, but they're making one crucial. Okay, continue. Sorry.
Well, they're making one crucial mistake.
Yeah, there was a thinking error. It's because classes shouldn't be balanced because D&D is not a PvP game.
Yeah,
it's players versus Dungeon Master, PvDM game. And that is where it should be balanced. So a group of players should have a balanced encounter against a group of enemies. And does it mean that they should have a 50-50 win chance? No. It should mean that they have a 95% win chance, but get taxed in doing it, like having to spend the resources. And yes, hit points are resources.
Yeah,
but you want your players to survive combat.
What people, in general, this is because of the comments. Not that I'm not saying anything about people who understand.
Devil's advocate, it's fine.
Yeah, devil's advocate is that what they do not understand is that yes, a wizard can cast a fireball and deal. Let's say it casts a fireball, 86, 48 maximum. But about half that, or 27. Yeah, 27 is the average damage, right? So 27 damage on the fireball.
28.
Oh yeah, 86. Sorry, 28. 28 damage on the fireball. Some will make the save, get 14 damage. Some will have resistance, get 14 or 7 damage, and then you have like 200 enemies in front of you, and they deal a lot of damage, and many of them will drop, and some of them will not drop. And then they say, "Whoa, this wizard is so powerful because it destroyed all these creatures." But then the barbarian gets in there, and it picks out the biggest bastard that's in there, and does 3 attacks on it, which each deal 24 points of damage, which is 72 on the boss, and that drops the boss. While the wizard has to pull 3 fireballs in 3 consecutive rounds to get kind of the same result, and maybe not even that. Exactly. So there's all those roles, they are so different.
Yeah, so and that's the thing. Roles should have strengths and weaknesses. Yeah. Like there's plenty of reasons why casters aren't overpowered, because you can quite easily kill them. Well, they have tricks up their sleeve, but still, they die a lot quicker than a well-played paladin.
Didn't you just post that meme where my ex has poison and the wizard says I'm immune to poison, but the ex still killed him?
Yeah,
I actually thought that was pretty great. Yeah.
Somehow the ex worked anyway.
No, but somehow the ex worked anyway. Forget poison damage against the wizard. Yeah, and we see that a lot in these kind of things. Like mobility for a monk is a thing, which makes the monk be able to be anywhere on the field very quickly. Cleric can heal, which is when a cleric heals, it doesn't do damage.
Also, nerf paladin though, but other than that, it's fine.
Yeah. And that's the other funny thing. They hope the paladin doesn't get nerfed because they want to play the OP paladin, and they hope to get the monk gets buffed because they think the monk is too weak.
Monk, that last one is a bit iffy. I feel that the monk doesn't scale well. Could have some improvements on higher levels.
Kind of agree with that in a certain way. Yeah.
And paladins should be nerfed. Yeah, they should definitely.
I think the monk in my party is now starting to realize that the barbarian and the rogue are doing far more significant damage in the party than him. Especially when they're doing a lot of cannon fodder, so to say. He's not effective anymore. And that's even, I gave my monk 2 specializations. So he's Way of the Stars, which is my own thing, and he's Way of the Sun Soul. And he's still, he's got a lot of
underwhelming.
Options, underwhelming, except when his stun works, of course. But
okay, but that's a benefit to everyone.
Yeah. So, but I have to say, because otherwise I will not give this person credit. I do like what Jim is saying in the general way.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with what he's saying. I think he's right on most things.
Yeah.
Even the halfling bit.
Why? Because I think I didn't quite understand that one.
I think he's just commenting on that the artwork for halflings is always kind of weird. Like they have this big heads or something. I don't know, really. But I don't think they're gonna change their art style or how they view certain species, races, and variant covers, of course. No, but I think he's right. I just hope they don't go with too far with homogenization between the classes and abilities, and let every class have their unique flavor and way to deal with stuff. Their own strengths, their own weaknesses, and be balanced in that way. But everything he's saying here, that this just sounds like a D&D edition, and I think this would be an actual improvement over 5th.
Except for the things we just described then.
Yeah. Well, maybe even some of the other things. Like I said, for some reason, for some abilities, it could be better if it's proficiency times long rest.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, for some. Well, yeah. Might be. I'll have to think about that one. So, what are your expectations for?
My expectations?
Yeah,
I have none, but I have hopes and dreams, like I mentioned before.
Hey. What are your hopes and dreams?
Now, what
I think I know them, but
you do. But let's share them with the web. With internet,
with the web,
so with the web. Be really salty right now, and I think it's no. What I hope and want is that they allow for longer encounters, but not in playtime, but in number of rounds. I think that's my biggest gripe with the whole 5th edition. I hope that not everything of all the player powers, and this is a big one, is front loaded. But that's more of a dream than a hope.
I think they will not do that one. No, but I think they will make encounters longer.
Yeah, but I heard something about them wanting to give more hit points to creatures and stuff like that.
Yeah, for example.
Yeah, but that is the easy way out. That is true, and that's usually what I do when I want a combat to last longer. But a lot of spell effects have like duration 1 minute, right? That's the entire combat.
Yeah,
always. That the combat rarely, very rarely, lasts longer than 5 rounds.
Yeah. That's actually interesting about 4th edition again, where they just said that a combat lasts 5 minutes.
Yeah, because so when combat's over, you divide by number of rounds, and every round with a lot. Yeah. No,
yeah, but then they
don't care
combat
about
encounters. Encounter abilities, you know?
Yeah,
you can put just once per encounter.
But I don't care about like the time it takes to finish a combat. I mean, that you can give any kind of flavor to that you want when you play a D&D game. It's just that, as you know, Jasper, I like to be mechanical heavy when it comes to my encounters. Which means that I usually have a period, like the first 2 or 3 turns, where I want to teach my players what the boss is capable of. And then in the last rounds, having them find a way to deal with that correctly and defeat the encounter. But most encounters are just, if you see how much damage a character can deal in 5th edition, most combats are over really quickly.
Yeah.
Like a boss battle can last 3 turns and then it's over. And when it happens, I always feel kind of like I failed. I mean, you want to exhaust your players. You want them to use all of their resources to defeat your encounter. And if you look at...
Yeah, sure, that's what you want for your boss encounters. As,
yeah.
Naruhiko.
Well, thanks. I lost my train of thought.
And welcome to the chat.
And welcome to the stream. Yeah. Thank you for checking on my alibi. I'm really here on stream. No, but I want players to be drained of their resources when they finish a boss fight. And if you have a level, even a level 9 mage in the group, he'll probably have a lot of spell slots left once the boss is dealt with. So he doesn't. So unless you have 4 encounters and then a boss, you can't really drain him of his resources.
Yeah,
which is a shame.
I'm as Bowen. I'm going through my spells like mad.
Yeah,
don't know if you've noticed, but that's because I've got shield.
Yeah. Using your spell slots for a reaction is a good way to spend all of your slots. But even then, look at the bigger encounters we've had in the Precipice. Those last longer than the average D&D combat. As in, they take more rounds for. But that's because, stuff like HP is artificially inflated, or I throw in some other mechanic or ads or whatever to make it last longer.
Well, we actually have to get through a lot of hit points in your encounters, I think.
Yeah. Well, in my other campaign, they're in the middle of an encounter against a boss. But every round he summons pillars, and they need to destroy at least one of them to create a safe space in the room. So a lot of their damage is going into these pillars and not into the boss. So they're actually discussing at the start of every round, okay, who's gonna deal with the pillars and who's to deal with this. But that's making it so that even though the boss doesn't have that many hit points compared to some of the other enemies they fought, so there are ways in 5th to deal with this, but it should be.
But they aren't in 5th.
Well, they
are in your head, and that's And I've been thinking about this as well because I like your encounters, you know this, and I also see what kind of encounters you are going to use against your parties. I'm very curious what you will throw at us in the future. But I've also been thinking about the fact that when you look at Dungeons and Dragons monsters, they are pretty straightforward, all of them. And building an encounter with all these mechanics is not really explained in the Dungeon Master Guide, for example. So when they tell you, we got the answer from the guy who was pretty positive, where that person said, "I hope," or is that even this one? I think this person also said it somewhere.
Just make your point, because
yeah, okay, yeah. So is that hope for a dungeon master guide that really teaches you how to build these kinds of things, and at the same time, not. I think there's a kind of charm in Dungeons and Dragons where the enemy can just be another party, have the same kind of features that your party has, and that makes for the hard dynamic without building around strange things happening in the field. And yeah, there's a lot of things that I sometimes there's no way a wrong way to play Dungeons and Dragons, but I sometimes ask, what is a Dungeons and Dragons encounter? What should it be like? You know?
Yeah. Well, I do remember in I think the second edition, the Monsters Manual. I don't think it was intended as an example, but they gave you guidelines on how this monster would fight. Was it third?
That's in third. Yeah.
Like I said, in the first round, it will use this ability. Second round, it will use his attacks.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, that coincided with monsters that had somewhat more diversity than they have in 5th edition.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of homogenization in monsters as well.
Yeah, and I think that because we'll get to this when we look at the cleric stats later on, is that one thing that we think we kind of differ in opinion is if monsters should have spells or simply abilities that act like spells, for example, and they can use in certain intervals. And I think that against your party, I reskinned Naspa, which is kind of a 19th level caster or 17th level caster. I don't know. I think the highest level spells it had were 8th level spells. And I had this whole skill of spells that I could throw at you. And it could use shield and stuff. And, it was really versatile enemy. But in this new 5th edition, they tend to
give all casters Fireball. Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah,
he has an ability called Fireball, and he can just throw it. Yeah,
I'm a bit anxious about that one because those are the monsters that still have the versatility to actually be a pain in different ways than simply the 3 abilities that they have.
Yeah. For example, the old mind flayers and stuff like that.
Yeah, or dragons.
Dragons with their spells.
Of course. Yeah.
No, but I agree with you because you said we are differing of opinion. We have different opinions on this, but the other side is that those monsters that have those abilities and not have an enormous spell list are way easier to play as a dungeon master.
Yeah.
So
it's what I default to when I don't have time to prepare pretty well.
Yeah. Well, I do it if, especially when there's like when they're fighting a group of monsters where the castles aren't even the big bad or something, but a big bad definitely will have a spell list for me, and if he's a caster.
Yeah.
Or at least the versatility to have enough abilities that he has an equal source of versatility. Because sometimes, I don't use spellcasters because I want spells to be tweaked. I want them to be more powerful or less, more powerful.
We have a friend called Werner who has his own campaign, which is 3.5 edition Dungeons and Dragons. And I actually know that he uses kind of 4 mages and 3 clerics in one combat. And that's pretty scary if they all start throwing fireballs and stuff. Because, 1 fireball isn't that much of a problem anymore. But 4 fireballs, for those who don't have dexterity, is a pretty big thing still. and you rarely see those types of combat anymore, I think.
No, because I don't do it because I think they're a bother. It's so annoying because if you have 4 casters, some of them might even have differing spell lists, and you have to go through each of them and what does this spell do again? And then it takes so much time. Like if you have spells that are an ability, that's the fastest way to play a caster.
Well, I've also been thinking
unless you're a walking encyclopedia.
Which I was when I was a teenager and still somewhat in my 20s, but my memory certainly starts to lack on details right now. Which I can agree on, but there's also this argument to make. How long should it really last?
What combat?
Yeah, and in real life, because I can enjoy a combat that lasts for 5 sessions, and especially when I'm having fun with friends, it's somewhat different on Discord, and simply allow the dungeon master to really pick his spells and make it really hard on me. And keep searching books and be invested in that part of the game as well.
I mean, sure, I've had combats that lasted 5, even more sessions, because they were so complex and stuff. But as long as people don't get bored at the table, and sure. But yeah, if you run a one shot and your whole evening is one combat, then what have you done, right? It's that's a waste of time.
That's true.
I mean, you always reference it. Matt Colville plays Night Below once a year. Yeah. Well, it took you 12 years to finish that whole campaign or something.
A little bit less, I think about 6 or 7 years, but
but still,
with 8-hour sessions every Friday.
Yeah. But you took your time, and that's fine. As long as everyone is fun, then it's fine.
And that wasn't what I think is pretty strange. That's not because combat lasted that long. Okay, some combats did last quite long, but it's also because there was so much combat. How can you push that into that amount of time?
Skip them.
Yeah. I think they really meant from the start to adventure, to going to the first village, to instead of doing all the research, going to the keep where they needed to go to the Underdark.
Yeah,
skip some things there, went to the next city, skip some things there, went to the next city, and it ended or something. And he just gave the options: do you want to investigate or not? And if they do, they encountered something in the corridor.
Maybe, I don't know.
It must be like that, because
Matt, if you're looking, explain it to us sometime.
From a player's perspective, says Marineas, an encounter should be able to challenge you in a way you did not think of previously and help you to try and overcome it. That's good for every new encounter, but I think...
But should the encounter help you to try to overcome it, or is it your team that should help you to... Oh yeah, of course, I help my players. I know I shouldn't, but most of them are idiots. So, and they're here in chat. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. You could be your party. What?
Just smile away.
Well, immediately, what this calls back to is. I remember that some of my players said, well, every encounter is hard, Jasper. We never get the sense of how powerful we are.
Oh, who was that? That sounds like a smart person.
Well, it was you, but it has been said more than one time during my Dungeon Master career. But the thing is, whenever I drop how hard my encounters are, they get overconfident.
Yeah, that is true. Well, my players don't do
your
it,
party,
actually, but we had one encounter that was easy in like 12 years. Yeah, it was the skeletons before we went down into the dining hall. And that was it. After that, it was just horrors, nightmares, and we thought, this is cool. We have abilities. We feel powerful now. Well,
actually, the 5th edition encounters we did weren't that hard.
no, but they always challenge us, and there was.
Yeah.
I think that there's something to say for encounters that are just fun, like simple, easy to kill, and make your character feel powerful. From I can use this ability optimally, and yeah.
Hey, Cass, welcome to the stream.
Oh, hey, Cass.
To you and to Naruhiko. I always forget how to say it.
It's pronounced Jeff.
Jeff. And Jeff, we're discussing all things 5.5 edition Dungeons and Dragons. And since the answers were a bit salty, I don't think we are actually salty, but we are quite critical.
Hey, you're kind of salty, though. You're kind of salty.
I was kind of salty, but I'm not being salty, right?
No, you're being sweet, Jasper. You're very sweet. Yeah, we'll talk about that after the show. I'm more salty. What?
More salty. Yeah. Roger is always salty.
Always salty.
Always salty. Let's go to the next slide, right? Because maybe
sultry. Let's be sultry, Jasper.
Oh, sultry. I'm quite sultry. Let's skip to the small screen again and read this thing. James says, better ship battles and reasons whatsoever to any reason whatsoever to start at level 1.
Better ship battle. Are there rules for ship battles?
Well, the funny thing is, this person said better ship battles. Which there are no ship battles really described.
So any rules for ship battles would be better.
Any rules for ship battles? I think there are somewhat some in Saltmarsh expansion.
Or maybe he misspelled the word ship.
Shit battles. Any shit battles?
Where does your mind go? But yeah. But it wouldn't make any.
Flinging dung. Having proficiency in flinging dung is
but if there's ship battles, you want them to be better.
No, it's about ship. Well, actually, I don't know what it's about because this is quite a short post, right?
This is not the same James as we had earlier, right?
No,
James.
This very short post got 28 replies, and each reply was kind of a book.
Oh, nice. And you're going to read them to us now.
But all of them
sultry voice.
Yeah, sultry. But actually, every reply was kind of a big answer.
Okay.
Kind of text. And can you imagine why?
They gave him reasons to start at level 1?
Well, some people tried to give reasons to start at level 1. Let's put it that way.
But they weren't very good.
Well, I think they were good, but when you have conversations where people stop listening to each other and each want to press their own point?
You mean the internet?
Yeah, that's what happened here. So
the internet happened. Nice.
The internet happened, and in such a way
been happening a lot lately.
That one person said something about there really is no reason to start at level 1 except when you're a new player. And one person said, well, it's actually quite nice to start at level 1 because of stuff. And then it kind of exploded. And there were all kinds of things. And, each person tried to say, yes, we understand that each person plays Dungeons and Dragons in his own manner. But there were also things, you just have a bad DM. You have you don't understand the system. All kind of things started to happen when they talked about this. For examples, and this is a point which is interesting, is some classes really start off only at third level because then they get the subclasses. And I want to make a Eldritch Knight, but I can't cast spells at level 1 because I'm a simple fighter, which is the same as every other fighter. And then the other person said, okay, that's true, but then you have to see your character as building up to that point where it gets its Eldritch power, and then there's this change.
Wow.
But
this kind of sounds like the conversation Michel and I had at the start of Precipice.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and like there's something to be said for
Any
these
of
kind of
this.
things,
Yeah.
any of this. Uh, and my kind of innate reaction is to say, you know, there's just different approaches. But for some people, it's really hard to see these different kind of approaches, and that's okay as well. But then you get these. That's where you get conflict, so to say.
Yeah.
This post started it.
This was the end of the beginning of the end.
Oh, it is what I started seriously reading every answer, and then at a certain point, I thought, well, we are saying they are writing that they are still being polite, but I thought, well,
Well, if people are saying that they're being polite, then they're probably not being polite.
Yeah, I think that was the issue that started to come up here, and but what I think is interesting is that they are all right.
Yeah,
That yes, you can be the only thing I think that this person says a reason to start at level 1. I think there's always a reason to start at level 1. So then this person might actually be wrong. But if this person says, I don't ever want to start at level 1 because I think it's boring, yeah.
Yeah, but what's boring then? I mean, level 1 is the level where you have the most chance to die.
I thought our level 1 in the Precipice of Dreams was excellent. I loved it. Yeah. And I loved the way I leveled up into my first level of Quirk when my healing power actually kicked in.
You all started, or most of you started with a plan for your character, and you each got a chance to grow into that. But that's also because I knew what your plans were, so I could play into that. But yeah, you probably have DMs that can't do that for some reason, or just won't, or are spiteful towards the players and just make it so it doesn't happen or something. I don't know. There's plenty of weird stuff going on.
Will we ever get to see those episodes, says Marineas?
Oh, they were kind of cringy though. The quality is bad.
The quality is cringy. But,
the quality is very bad. But
and the
who
English
knows?
is well, we've improved our English quite a bit during the last 1.5 years, I think. I have, at least. All of us have.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I really had to search for words in that first episode, which also made for the Bowen way of talking.
When he introduced himself to the other characters, he was dragging along a coffer.
Yeah.
But you couldn't come up with
the right
or
word.
chest or whatever. And you said to the other players that you were dragging along a coffin.
Yeah.
So and everyone was like, what? And that was the first impression they got of Bowen.
Do you remember that I think Eric wanted to get back up into his stirrups, but he couldn't come up with the word stirrups?
Oh, yeah.
And I even remember, but I think you also improved, because I remember you describing the first city that we came to, and you suddenly had to describe the market, and there was some hesitant stuff in there. But when you're describing Stendhal, you are really now painting the scenery in a way far more eloquently.
I think that's also because I'm less nervous, even though those first couple of sessions weren't live. It was still getting used to speaking on camera and having myself recorded, being able to actually watch back what I said, and
Yeah, but I think
that's another layer.
There is another layer. I remember when I first had to do something in technical English because I had to send something somewhere, and I suddenly realized that yes, I can read fantasy books pretty well, but I have no idea about any logistical words.
If you had to write up a legal document, we would both fail.
Yeah. tremendously. There would be problems. Yeah.
Problems.
A lot of problems. Cringe is
That's
retro. Cringe is retro in the sense. Yeah.
No, cringe is not retro. Cringe.
And sometimes it's retro.
Yeah, sometimes retro is cringe.
Yeah.
Cringe is never retro.
So about so ship battles, yeah, I hope they include cool ship ideas for ship battles as well, because that is a thing that is actually kind of lacking. Although I didn't read Saltmarsh, I might buy that book at a certain point just to see how they did it. And I've seen Matthew Mercer do it in Critical Role.
It feels more like a supplement book. I mean, Wizards wants to make money, or Hasbro, and make a book for ship battles. It's cool. Lots of people.
Yeah, but you have. I think you read the Starship rules for Pathfinder 2.0, right?
Yeah, but they're way too short. I think they could have been more elaborate if they dedicate more than a chapter to it, or 2 chapters. It will be much more fleshed out and much more cool to play, probably.
Yeah. No.
And if they put it as a chapter in a player's handbook, then it will be very basic, and that might come at the cost of some depth. So yeah. I don't hope they put in rules for ship battles. I hope that they actually make rules for ship battles, and
it depends how big the book is.
Yeah, I probably won't read it anyway. But I might look into it and look stuff up when I need it.
Yeah. So that's what I feel for ship battles as well. And then the second part, starting at first. Yeah, we just love starting at first. And of course, it's cool to start at level 5. And I have this party where we sometimes do one-shots because some players can't come to the session. And then we start at 5th level. And
players, when they think of a character, they think about what they want their character to be. Like this great hero, or this super ominous bad guy, or this edgy rogue, or whatever. Yeah. But a level 1 character isn't that. There's tons of memes out there, D&D memes, where you can see like this what
I defeated this and squash. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like what I think my level 1 character is, and what my level 1 character actually is. So like a level 1 bard, and she's this giant rock star, and beneath that there's an image with my first Sony guitar or something. And that's the thing. People want to start at the end.
Yeah. Well, there's also someone commented in this whole line of replies that, but okay, it does say in the player's handbook that when you start your hero, it's already more than a normal civilian.
Yeah.
And in a way, it is, but this is also the problem with Dungeons and Dragons in general, is that the power level, even though in 5th it's way less significant than it is in other editions, but your power level increases so much that low-level things stop being a threat.
Yeah.
Even though what they did great in 5th edition is that they scaled back the attack bonuses, so that you
bound accuracy,
so that you could still be threatened by someone with a +5 attack when you're having an armor class of 16, but 1d6 +3 damage against 200 hit points still isn't that much.
No,
you can do fun things with that, but it's the disproportional stuff. The farmer can never accidentally cut off your head anymore.
Well, yeah, okay, but that's also not what you want as a level 1 player.
Oh yeah, well, what in our system what we're trying to do is that at least you get the sense that when you are surrounded by a lot of them,
of course,
it remains a threat.
Well, earlier I was talking about how I wanted to have combat last longer, and with lower level characters, you can't do that because they don't have enough hit points to last longer.
Yeah.
But the same thing goes for the bad guys, of course.
Yeah. Although I always think that you're using a lot of hit points for even the low level bad guys.
Yeah, I know.
Mireneus says, that's why I really like to have characters that don't realize their inner power or underuse their potential until a story-wise revelation. It adds to a growth outside of level. Yeah. I look at it that way as well, because I had a problem with envisioning how my cleric level would, because I knew I was a cleric and I was an arcane caster at the same time. But what should I pick first? Because I was raised in the cloister, so should I pick cleric? But no, my arcane arts came kind of first, so I picked wizard, but I knew that I had the training. And then when I actually reached second level, I simply did my healing is finally working. And that was kind of the way how I introduced it, and took it in a stride. Like this seems logical.
But that's the problem with multi-classing as well, though. It's that you don't have that if you're planning on to do a single class. But if you want abilities to work in, then the more stuff like that. I mean, with multi-classing, it takes a couple of levels usually to make it work. Like the reason you're multi-classing, and it was in 5th already as well. 3rd, I mean, you had the same issues.
It's even it's harsher there than
because you want to work towards a prestige class, so you're taking all these skills that you don't want, but it says in the requirements that you should have.
Yeah. And then you're combining caster classes, and your difficulty check doesn't go up anymore, and because of low level spells, remember? Yeah, it was always.
But I don't want to remember.
The
bad stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So lots of discussion. There's lots of reasons to start at level 1, and there's lots of reasons to not start at level 1.
And if you don't, battles would be cool. Just don't. Yeah. Stuart says, better writing, more depth to character, and more worlds. But I have always been a dreamer.
Yeah, cool.
So this is kind of the quality thing, which I think is cool.
Yeah, but I'm not sure what he means with better writing, though. Is the writing in D&D bad? Well, I've always had my own custom worlds, and
it's not that inspirational, I think.
Because it's cliche, or
because it's
it doesn't have that
very to the point. Yeah, it's like very to the point,
and that's what wanted you. Yeah,
I've now written for 4 classes. I've written in the same format as they do for the classes in the player's handbook, and so you have like these 3 paragraphs that you do, and there seems to be an intent in the first paragraph, the second one, and the third one. So you kind of follow that, and then you have to embellish with a couple of sentences what this thing is about. And I'm not saying that it was actually kind of better in 3rd edition, but I think that you actually, I can imagine that is about that kind of stuff. And I don't know what the solution would be actually. But it's not that enticing.
Get better writers, but the way stuff is written is
it's not very enticing. Yeah,
but this guy just wants more campaign settings, right?
As well, yeah. Which I think they are dropping campaign settings left and right, but there are a lot of campaign settings already. But also. The funny thing, I'm not certain actually about this, but for example, you have Ravenloft, which is 1 book. You have Theros, which is 1 book. You have Eberron, which I think is still 1 book. You have Saltmarsh, which is 1 book. So do you see the
pattern?
The pattern, yeah. And then you have.
I think I do. I think it's all.
And for some reason, you have Explorer's Guide to Wildmount and Tal'Darai Reborn, which is 2 books for the Critical Role campaign setting.
Yeah, but that might also have to do with who is writing it.
Well, yes, of course, yeah, but when when you think about second edition campaign settings,
Yeah,
with
those
all these
boxes.
boxes. Yeah.
Yeah, with all the extra stuff in it, with the maps and
Can
that
you
kind of
imagine
stuff is also
Planescape
missing.
toned down to one book?
One book. Oh no. Yeah,
Oh
I was just saying that they should do Planescape, but not in one book.
no, never. But but when I look at the Ravenloft campaign setting, those people may certainly write Planescape for me.
But yeah, when people want a campaign setting, do they want an entirely fleshed out world, so like they can just take it out of the box and present this world to their players? Or do they want inspiration for a world? Because that's what I think those one book settings do. They have some maps and stuff, but there's a lot of gaps to still fill in, which gives the DMs a creative opportunity to actually fill the stuff in. I think Eric has done Curse of Strahd a couple of times now, but he has done it differently every time.
Yeah, he actually built on it. So
yeah, and he changed stuff in the villages, and like he was telling there was this specific encounter or something that he completely reskinned into something else, and yeah, it was.
Well, it was 20 years later as well, and the next time he played it. So
yeah,
there's big difference. And Strahd had died. I actually think yeah, the main boss from the first one died, and there was a whole new dynamic.
Yeah,
so
but
that's pretty cool.
In that way, the first book inspired him to elaborate further on the source material.
Well, I think a lot of people use it that way. So yeah.
I think that's good.
I remember reading the first Tal'Darai book that Matthew Mercer did without wizards. And I can imagine that some people like it, but when I get really put off when I see that when you visit this village, you can do the poached egg quest.
Yeah. And, was there a yellow exclamation mark above someone's head?
Yeah, felt like that. They want a setting which gives the dungeon master such a spark to build the world further, so it should contain such a foundation that gives room for a campaign. Who are they? And yes.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious about these day as well.
Yeah.
But I think he means this steward.
No. So I've done Planescape, for example.
I know.
But I've never done an adventure Planescape.
No, yeah.
Although I've used parts of adventures.
I have read campaign settings and not entirely, but I looked at campaign settings and stuff like that. But I've never played anything that was given. But I can see the allure though, because it's quite easy.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, we are also thinking about our campaign setting, what should be in there to entice people. And I have a lot of don'ts and a lot of do's, which I got from other campaign settings.
Yep.
Like and I think they do that pretty well, and Tasha as well. Like I always like the quotes, from certain people that are saying stuff, like Tasha commenting on another mage, for example. That really, those are the things that inspire me in the book, and Planescape had a lot of that. Even more, all the rules were written like in such dialect.
I actually did it now once in the Precipice. I don't know, you could have seen it, but it's more. I'm not sure if you have ever clicked on the town of Brentwick on the map.
No.
But when you do, it says that the screen pops up and it says it's a shithole, and then the name of the dwarf that said it.
Oh, yeah, it's true. No, I did read that. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Those are cool things, yeah. There's a group of players that want a new campaign setting relatively free of memes and tropes and spotlight cliches. Yeah, but that's really difficult because there's just so many things that you can do. The only thing you can do is be original about the cliches and the memes.
Yeah, at least there's nothing wrong with cliches if you do them in the correct way.
We started, we didn't start at an inn, but we did start with bandits on the road.
Yeah.
But it was so cool. how we handled it.
Well, cliches have become cliche for a reason, and even if you do cliches, you can still do them justice. Like do them. There's plenty of "I am your father" moments and stuff like that.
Yeah, Matthew Mercer said, "Don't start your campaign in an inn." Then he started his second campaign in an inn.
Yeah, because he didn't want people to steal his idea. I thought, because
no,
I'm going to do. I'm going to start my campaign in an inn, and I'm going to tell everyone to don't do that, and I'll have the coolest opening ever.
Yeah, we're going to start going a bit faster now because we still have to.
Is it a lot still? Because I do need to empty my bladder.
What?
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay, go quickly. Then I'm going as well. It's not really a break, but I'm getting some more. He needs to pee. I need some more water. This is new, a break in Talking Void. Never done that. And he's back. That was kind of quick. Did you wash your hands? Did you wash your hands? That's what I want to know.
I'm washing them right now.
Oh man. Cheers.
What did I miss?
Nothing. Well, Michel's asking himself what's going on. We had to have a break in Talking Void, which has never happened before. Anyway, Oystein says, I think it's Oystein, I hope they improve the layout of the Dungeon Master Guide and add more tools instead of telling the Dungeon Master to figure it out themselves. The less work a DM has to do for situations that don't necessarily follow the strict rules in the player's handbook, the better. Yeah. Did I look like that on the stream? Man, I'm seeing myself on stream. My mouth almost agape. Anyway. I kind of agree.
Yeah.
I think that when you've read the Dungeon Master Guide, and I know you didn't, in the end you're left with a sense of what you should be doing, but you actually don't have a way to do it. I think you learn more from adventure modules than you learn from the Dungeon Master Guide. You learn about styles, you learn about challenge ratings.
Yeah, to be fair, except for most like magic items and rules for traveling and stuff, like the rules in the DM guides have always been okay. But the how to DM, that's never really well explained.
No. And I think they actually wanted to have focus on this. I'm hoping for that as well.
Yeah, okay. But if you tell me now, tomorrow you have a paper due, and you have to tell me how to DM, that's quite impossible.
If you have to do it in a day, yes. If you have to do it in 1,200 words.
Years, yeah. And if you've been doing it since 1974, but still, it's. But even then, you would come up with a way to DM or multiple ways to DM, but still, nothing would be set in stone.
No,
it would still depend on the players you have at your table, your own personality. There's so many factors that come into play which you can't account for in a book. But I agree with
can direct him to
with tools.
Yeah. And that there is the way using CR to calculate how strong your encounters are, but those always break down.
I still don't get it.
Yeah. Well, you can follow the rules, but
I get the rules, but I still don't get it.
I think one of the comments said that they hope they really balanced creatures better around CR, and I can imagine that they want to do it. It doesn't have to be that you then know what ACR actually is and how you build encounters by them, but there are really big discrepancies in the power level of a CR1 monster compared to another one, for example.
Do they give any guidelines for how, when, or why to fudge die?
No, I don't think so. I can't remember, at least.
That's something they should add.
Yeah, fudge dice. Yeah. And I think the 4th edition monster manual really taught you how to build monsters and stuff. But that's logical because everything is the same in that edition.
Yeah.
So you knew what the main attack needed to do. You knew what the secondary attack needed to do. How much hit points it had,
But those kind of tools are really great for the DM starting out. Like if you don't have the feel for it, then or even wanting to get a grasp on the feel for it, then studying those kinds of tables and rules are actually pretty beneficial. I know that in the 5th edition DM guide, there's rules for creating your own spells, and while reading that, you actually get a grasp of their design philosophy when it comes to spells and why certain spells are the way they are. Like why Fireball, for instance, is actually more powerful than any spell should be on that level.
Yeah.
And it is good to study those kinds of things, but still, it won't help you DM. It will help you come up with rules, but you're more than the master of rules.
Yeah.
And it's hard to teach someone to DM who's never done it before, might never have seen it before. And even then, if you have seen it, if you watch Critical Role and you see Matt Mercer DM, that's the way he DMs that might not be the way for you. It's probably not the way for you.
He says it's probably not the way for anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
He's getting a lot of flame for his style, which is silly because he's an excellent DM. I don't DM like him. I think I'm a pretty good DM. You don't DM as him. You're a pretty good DM, and we don't DM the same way.
Good. Let's give ourselves a tap on the shoulder.
Yeah, but we are not the same.
No, definitely not. They're very different. Even in our circles, we're quite known for having different styles of DMing. And Thanks, man. Thanks. Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
You should pet Naruhiko, by the way, if you see him. He'll like that. You won't.
Oh, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's petting.
Anyway.
Okay. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah. Lightning round, right?
So lightning round. Yeah, somewhat. Can you see it on stream?
I see something on stream. Oh, big answer. Wow. But
big answer.
It's just big.
They're probably going to stream. Christian says they're probably going to stream creature spells, rework some of the subclasses, notably monk and sorcerer, rework some spells and feats.
Yeah. So this is what we were talking about earlier, right? That's
yeah.
And but he still has spellcasting though. Only they took out Holy Healing Light and made it an ability.
Yeah, no slots.
Or cure wounds and made it, no slot, one each time. Yeah, okay. I'd rather see a spell point system. Like when you have, like, how many spells is it? 6, 9, 12 spells. Like, you have 12 spell points. You can use them on these spells, and you can they each cost 1 or something. That would
but then you have 12 revivifies or 12 banishments.
Yeah.
And banishment is a 4th level spell.
Yeah, okay. Apart from that, then you could can add numbers in the bracket, like banishment costs 4.
Yeah, flame strike is level 5. Yeah, dispel magic. Yeah. But these are all listed.
That would be more
actions,
flexible,
as you see.
But this is hybrid in what we discussed. A bit
hybrid.
Still has a large list of spells, so it's still the DM looking up. What does banishment do again? Should I use it in this situation? Ooh, Guardians of Fate sounds cool. Is it useful?
Yeah. But it has a bonus action. I like that about it.
Yeah. With a recharge 46.
Yeah.
Which is unpredictable. But that's kind of nice, maybe.
Yeah, so it uses it every other round.
On average.
You can decide that as a Dungeon Master.
So, but in D&D combat, that would mean it would use that spell once or twice.
Yeah, so it has an arm class of 18. It has 117 hit points. It's a challenge rating 9. So there are a lot of strange things happening because it's a 9th level caster, I think. That said somewhere. Oh no, it doesn't say that anymore. The old version of it says that it was a 9th level caster with 18d8 hit points because it's a medium creature and not an actually class based thing.
I do like that they list the proficiency bonus now. But
yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, and I think that I saw some other very strange things because why wisdom 17?
What character would level a clerk? Because this is clearly a clerk. He has a charisma of 18 and a strength of 16. Okay, strength is kind of useful every now and then for a clerk, but why doesn't he have a wisdom of 20? I mean, if I would build this character, or if one of my players would level their character this way, I would tell them they're doing it wrong.
Yeah,
well, hey, you might want to go for wisdom. You're a wisdom.
Yeah, although I don't actually agree on you with that, but I understand what you're saying. The other thing is his maul does 3d6 radiant damage, which I think is not really a cleric, a war priestess thing.
What does? Oh, plus okay, but that's the.
It has a plus 7
so many
to
creatures
hit,
in the monster manual have something like that. They add this 10 damage from a damage type that is associated with the creature.
It doesn't get anywhere near to the damage it needs to do, or the attack opportunity it needs to do against the characters that it's supposed to be against. For example, a heavy armored person with plus 7 to attack. Yeah.
By that point, the players would also have an armor class of 18,
but to be honest, the original one also had a plus 7 to attack. So but they should have changed that in the new format, I think.
Yeah,
somewhat. It doesn't have a magical weapon. You can give it a magical weapon, of course, but or have it permanently blessed or.
It should come from his spells. We're talking about the bonus action, but the bonus action should do something with his attacks. That would be much cooler. Like that's the whole fantasy of a war priest, right? They bless their weapons and then they smite their foes.
Yeah. So these actually
and none of the spells he has does something like that.
No,
it's more of a priest that can also.
It's more like actually a light priest instead of a war priest, because it calls down flame strike. Of course, it should also be able to cast fireball then, but it rains down holy fire from above instead of boosting himself. And I think those spells are also kind of war priest things. But if you really want to get the theme of these things, this is almost more of a light priest than it's a war priest.
A diet priest, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What? Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
At least they calculated the DC and stuff in the right way.
Yeah. Okay, but I don't care about that.
Well, I actually do. But,
yeah. Well. Yeah. Okay. I understand, but of course it should be correct. and calculated in the right way, but it kind of looks like a mess, if I'm honest. Like they don't know where to go with this creature. And I guess that goes for the original as well, because I know the old War Priest as well. But it doesn't
yeah. So the spells don't support the fighting style.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's
And I
it's
like
all
the
over
bonus
the place.
action. I like the healing light thing, but healing light isn't a thing. Because when would you use this? I would actually use this as holy word, and then in a way, healing 1d4 plus 3 hit points is enough for when I would be using it namely to set
KO
something
characters.
that's yeah. So
But
I think it's really strange how they did this. And
but the
I
healing
think
is broken regardless in D&D. Healing is weird.
Yeah. What I do like about this is that they actually, because a normal 9th level priest wouldn't have this amount of hit points, and this is even average hit points, of course, is that this kind of compensates for the amount of, when you're controlling more than one creature as a dungeon master, you don't have the same amount of control as you have as a player playing an individual character. So the amount of hit points compensates somewhat for that, even though it's kind of illogical. In a
it's not a very well designed. Like it lacks a clear purpose. If you want this character to be a support character for your party of baddies, then make it a support character and not this hybrid thing. Because what does it want to do? Well, you mentioned Flame Strike. That would be one of the most powerful things it can do, I think. Banishment is always very good, but see how much text is spent on describing its melee abilities that are actually kind of weak.
Yeah.
Compared to what is spent written on the abilities that make this creature kind of strong.
Yeah, so when would you encounter this? For example, would you encounter this as a 9th level party? It could be if you are with more than one. If you have a party of these kinds of creatures, they are all 9th level, then when the party is as big as yours, you in virtue would have had a 50% win chance, which means it would have been a deadly encounter. Right?
Yeah.
Because that's how Third worked. That was really well put together and really logical.
Combine this with a champion and what's it, barbarian, or there's more of these humanoid NPC, and they're all challenge rating 9, I think. If you make a full party of them, then you have a party to fight against your party. Which
but who would win?
Oh, the party, the players.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, easily. But that's kind of the point. That's the point of this challenge rating system.
Yeah, I know, but
I could pit this foe against the party of Precipice of Dreams, and you would probably win.
On its own, or with 4 of them.
No, with 4 of them you wouldn't win. I don't think so. But this guy on his own against you guys level 5, pretty sure you would win.
Yeah, but I think we are meant to win that.
Yeah. You're always meant to win. Sometimes it doesn't go that way, but a TPK is never the goal. You know this.
No, but if you think of a 9th level priest, I mean, it doesn't say 9th level priest here anymore, right? It doesn't say it.
Yeah.
So there's that, I think. But then what is the purpose of being a 9th level priest as an enemy? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm not sure because I don't really see what the problem is. Your problem is, at least.
I think that this is a very... I simply don't know. I don't know what this is.
Yeah, but that's what I've been saying.
Yeah, but you're saying it. Yeah, but you're saying it from identity. I'm trying to put it against Dungeons and Dragons lore, so to say.
Oh, but that's good then. Actually, I think, because this needs to fit in every campaign. This is just template war priest, and that's an archetype. And well, you need a war priest or something, and then you look at the stat block and you think, "Hey, I guess I'll use this."
Yeah, and they're doing that a lot in adventures as well, which I kind of
like. But everything should be a bit, especially these non-specific humanoids, because this could be an elf or a dwarf or whatever. It could even be warforged. Doesn't matter. But this is just a template you put on the stats you give to a character, like an NPC, for which you think this is a war priest, and then you use this as stats.
But now you're making the big bad, for example.
Am I?
And the big bad is a 9th level war priest.
Yeah, then you don't use this.
No.
So then you just build a character.
Yeah.
And you give him a wisdom of 20.
Yeah, but then it's weaker than this in hit points. Unless you artificially increase its hit points again. Yeah, but I think there's such a strange position for these things to be in.
Hit points is, and even the stuff like proficiency bonuses and stuff, it's already weird. But enemies aren't enemies don't follow the same rules as players. And that's what people want. Like they read the player's handbook first, and then they look at this, and they see 18d8 hit die. So he probably has a proficiency bonus of +6, right? Because he's level 18. Yeah. And then you look at proficiency bonus +4 and challenge rating 9, and think, okay, so
yeah, but I can kind of get into that mode of thinking, but yeah.
Yeah, but I had to get used to that in 5th, actually. Because
second edition, everything around the
third,
basic
second
rules.
even worked like that. Like they followed the same rules as the characters did. And in 5th, they let that go. And they artificially inflated their hit points. And even then, it wasn't enough.
Yeah. That's
but what is the original HD for this character, for this war priest? Know that?
Sorry, what?
How many hit points did it have originally? Do you know that? The same or
the same amount? Same amount. Yeah. So in this case, it's the same with the NPCs, I think, and I've not looked at the monsters, as I said.
Yeah, but you should never look at the monsters manual entry at a stat block and think, oh, this is a character. It's not.
Yeah.
It's generic example of what it could be. But if you want to make this a big bad, then it needs work, a lot of work. Yeah. If you want to make it imposing, or this is just random guy number 4 that you fight in an encounter. Yeah. And I think that's the intention as well, because it's not like they gave you the stats for Strahd and have it be this bland. To be fair, I haven't seen the stats for Strahd, but so it still could be.
Yeah, and I also understand that, but this creature, when it does what it's supposed to do, there's there's a very big chance that it does nothing.
Yeah, but maybe if it's on the back line of a party with a caster and a couple of frontmen, then it might cast a flame strike and heal one of his friends. Cast a holy fire or whatever, or do 2 mole attacks and then the holy fire.
Yeah. Okay, that's because we have 2 more to go to.
Okay. Sorry. I'm keeping you.
No. It's Darren says a ranger that works besides Gloomstalker, proper psionic classes. Terran says wizards to remain the most powerful class in the game, as it should be. Neria says epic levels. Dean says monk rework. Love it to death. Every subclass is pretty ass, though excluding mercenary. Pretty ass though, excluding mercenary. Mercy, sorry. Andy says a lessening of the gap between martial and casters. Michael says psionics should be a school of magic. Monks should be a paladin subclass, as they are both flavored as divine power-based holy warriors.
Well, okay.
I put these together because I think these are people who are kind of who want something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, cool. So, yes, no.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so we went through that one pretty quickly.
Epic levels are really cool. Wizards aren't the most powerful class in the game, but they are. Ranger that works beside Gloomstalker,
Yeah,
proper
I don't agree
classes,
with that anymore. Ranger is complicated, but there are actually
it has this stigma. Like if it sucks once, that doesn't matter what they do with it; it will remain sucky until the next edition. There's this meta thinking that players do. That's really weird, and it's hard to get rid of a stigma that has been thrust upon a class. Monk rework, it's the subclasses where the problem usually lies. I agree with that. They should do something with that.
The 14th or the 17th level, I always forget with monks. I think it's either the 14th or 17th level abilities. They are so... they vary so much in power level.
Yeah. We went over this when you were... it was recently, right? You were designing something, and I... that was for rogues. Yeah, never mind.
This was for rogues, yeah.
Lessening the gap between martial and casters, it's called charge.
Oh man, I had to think about that one. It's called.
Yeah.
Well, that charge doesn't actually exist.
No, I know. Yeah, it does. It's feat. It's really bad. You don't take charge.
No.
No, but just punch him. Just hit him.
Yeah, I think they're at a good place compared to each other.
Yeah. You have to look at the casters are more for effective against groups of enemies and for crowd control, while the martial melee characters or even the ranged martial characters are more for assassins. Yeah. Like they can single out a enemy and be very effective against that single enemy.
Yeah.
Of course, casters can do this as well, but not as good as the others.
Yeah. So I actually made a Scion, so I'll be posting that on the DM's
and please
guide.
Don't ever do what this Michael person says. He's probably a very nice guy because he gave you a reply, and we're very happy he did.
And has an opinion. Yeah.
Psionics is deserves its own thing. Monks and paladins are not the same, and they're not both flavored as divine power. Everything's wrong with that sentence.
Yeah, I think so as well. But interesting what you're saying right there, because I built a Scion class, and what I actually did is I used all the spells that are already there, and just as they did with Cleric and Wizard and Bard and whatever class, I made the class unique, so that they use the same spells in a different manner. Which I like about 5th edition.
All the Scion spells, like when people think about Scion spells, they mostly think about telepathy stuff, right? Like Mind Trust and stuff like that. Most of them are already in the spell schools.
Yeah.
Like most of them are enchantment charm spells or stuff like that. It shouldn't be in their own school of magic. It's way more complex than that. It's a way of casting.
I did two things. I made lesser manifestations because I called spell use manifestations. But they simply use spells. But I used lesser manifestations that had the property from 2nd edition D&D where you could counter stuff, or
that was really weird.
But Iron Wheel and stuff. But I made it more logical for more 5th edition, and I built 2 cantrips. One is manipulate objects, which lets you control objects with your mind and
telekinesis.
Let them deal damage. Which 1 object, 2 objects, 3 objects, 4 objects, and then you can also simply move them, and then it becomes a utility thing. And the other is energy ray, which does D8 damage, but you can choose the damage type.
Oh, there's no mind probe ability, like you deal psychic damage.
Those are already there.
Yeah, okay, but as a cantrip like power.
Yeah, there are.
Or you just take down one. Okay, yeah, of course. Yeah, okay, makes sense. Very cool.
Yeah. Mernay says, as my official answer to the main topic, a viewable reference or maybe book regarding deities and demigods with separate guidelines towards epic levels. Yeah, kind of agree with that one, Mernay. Would be cool. Huh.
Like there used to be these rules of how to become a demigod or deity.
High level stuff, yeah. Would be cool.
Not necessary, but cool. That was the ultimate goal in D&D, to become a god as your character.
Yeah.
To raise all your stats to 25 or something. And,
which I agree that they left it out of the basic rules.
Yeah.
Let's go to the last one, Roger, because I think it's
the last one already. Oh my god!
Already, it's 12:30.
I know.
11:30. Sorry.
It's 12:30 somewhere.
It's 12:30 somewhere. Let's go to the last one, and this is when I saw this, I thought this person understands what 5th edition is about, and really understands the history of Dungeons and Dragons, and actually leveraged between certain editions, balanced stuff out, and had a really good idea of what we should be doing.
Why do I get the feeling that you wrote that comment?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
this was actually one of the answers. Here it comes.
Jasper says.
Jeffrey says plus 4 weapons and armor.
Oh my god. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Or we still we can go back to this one, right? Yeah. For Jeff, is Jeff a Dungeons and Dragons player or not?
No.
Okay, so to put it in perspective, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd editions always had up to +5. Then 4th, which we can totally neglect, had a +6 as a maximum, and then 5th had a +3, and so +4 averages it quite well.
It's a compromise.
It's a compromise.
It's stupid, but it's a compromise.
It's a compromise.
It won't work. Yeah,
it's funny. Yeah,
it is funny. It's funny.
It's very funny. Yeah. So with that, we're going to the last slide and introduce the question that I certainly have to rephrase somewhat, but
drum roll.
Oh, drum roll. And here it is. What spell use contributed to the greatest magical moment in a game you played in, and why?
Oh. I think it was... Can I answer it?
You can.
The first thing that comes to mind is you were there actually for this moment. When you approached this important council, and you instructed the illusionist that was in your party to make your encounter of your entrance really impressive. And he said, yeah, I have a good idea. And all he did was he cast a contingency and some illusion spells were woven into that, and he didn't tell you guys anything. And then you barge into that room, and he said, "Ta-da!" and this confetti sprayed everywhere. That was your grand entrance.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Greatest magical moment.
Yeah, greatest magical moment. We should always use that one. Yeah.
He wasted like a total of 12 levels of spells to
just to do that.
to do that. Yeah.
But what do you think of the question? I think it will get the players interested. And because the last one was really technical.
Yeah. What magic and why?
Okay. Yeah. We'll workshop it.
What was the coolest magical moment and why? No.
I wanted to use spell use in there because they
the greatest
sort of
spell
active components, and they can imagine someone saying, "Well, it wasn't me, but it was my friend who used the wish spell."
What was the greatest spell ever cast? And why?
Wish.
No, wish is boring.
Yeah, no, we'll workshop it.
Wish is just a challenge for you to screw over your game.
Yeah. Well, actually, thanks, Roger, for being my guest after all these weeks.
Thank you for having me. Finally.
Finally. Thanks, everyone in chat. It was kind of a relaxed evening, but thanks, Marineus, for all the replies, and thanks for Jeff for the laughs, or the heads that are looking like...
It's Total Biscuit. And one is... I don't know who the other guy is.
I like Total Biscuit, so that's a thing. And I was laughing with you. Thank you so much, Jeff, and at myself. Well, it's always good to laugh at yourself because you're hearing the joke for the first time as well. So thanks everyone for being here with us, and have a good evening. We'll be ending the show now, and see you soonish. Next Monday, actually, at 9:30.
Tune in next Monday.
8:30 Central European Time.
8:30. I'm going to kill him. Bye-bye.
No, you don't. Okay. Bye.
Okay, well, we'll see.
Kaka!